Okay, today we're going to take a deep dive into the 1% rent to value ratio. A lot of real estate experts talk about this, including Jason Hartman and George Gammon. They both have different opinions of what it means, but we'll go into it a little more advanced in our video today. So the 1% rent to value ratio is rent to value. That's what we're paying attention to. And below this, I guess, is reversed. We have value here, $100,000 for our rental property. We multiply that by 0.01, and that gives us $1,000, which should be our rent amount ideally. What does this do for you? It ensures that you cash flow based on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. So you want to pay attention to that as your initial view when you're looking at properties and researching which ones to buy or get into. Or if you take a look at your current portfolio, we'll have a later video on why you may want to sell the current property that you're not getting a 1% rent to value out of and change it over to a property that's going to cash flow better and be a better opportunity cost for your money. When you pay attention to having the rent to value ratio at 1% or higher, you're almost guaranteed cash flow based on your mortgage amount. And then it also lets you quickly evaluate a property. So if a property is $150,000, you would quickly switch over to the rental view for whatever program or software you're using and see if rents in the area that you're looking are 1% of the general property values that are also in the area. And in a later video, we'll show you how to do this quickly. And finally, when you have a 1% rent to value ratio, you pretty much ensure that you're going to be profitable on a property, as the property itself is going to have maintenance and repairs, and you'll be cash flowing the entire time. Now we'll switch over to why it matters. Okay, so in this example of the 1% rent to value ratio, we have Happy Henry, your renter, and he's paying you this money over here in the form of rent. For this example, we use the same $100,000 as the value, and we're getting $1,000 for rent from Happy Henry. So your mortgage on $100,000 at roughly 4% for today's interest rates, August 2020, would be right around $550 with principal, interest, and insurance, and property taxes. So that's pretty much all inclusive. It could be a little lower than $550 or a little higher than $550. But when we pay attention to that and we move over here, $550 minus this $1,000, it leaves us a $450 cash flow off the property. And with that cash flow, it leaves us with money left over for maintenance and other expenses that we may have. Here's a couple more examples of 1% value. If the value of your property is $125,000, you just take a couple zeros off there and you get $1,250 for rent is what your target rent would be. $175,000, $1,750. $200,000, $2,000 a month. $250,000, $2,500 a month. Got it? I hope so. Now it's also possible to get more than 1%. There's properties that you can find easily, very, very easily, that you can purchase for, say, as an example, $90,000 as the value, and rent them for $1,100 per month, which, as you know from our previous example, if we're renting a $100,000 property for $1,000, you can bet $90,000 that we rent for $1,100 a month is going to cash flow much better. This particular example leaves a 1.22% rent to value ratio. Happy Henry over here in his blue house that already came painted is paying you that $1,100 per month in cash. That's great. Okay, so now why does all this matter? We'll tie it all together with some numbers here. If your mortgage is $150,000, you would be paying $800 per month for that. If it was $100,000, you'd be paying $550 per month. And we'll come down to the example of cash flow. If your house, so your little green house made out of the cash you're making from your rent, is $150,000, that's $800 per month. If you're able to rent that for $1,500 per month minus your $800 mortgage payment, you're left over with $700 in cash flow. That's really good cash flow for the property, and it allows you then to pay for maintenance. Maintenance and other expenses could be 10%, and keep in mind we do self-managed properties here, so we don't have evil property managers taking any of our money. But our maintenance in general is going to be 10% on a property, could be more, could be less, depending on the age of the property, whether it's a new build, condition you purchased it in, the amount of fixing up you do, any number of factors. So you can figure that at about $150 per month at that point. Take that off of your $700 that we were getting for cash flow, and you're at $550 in positive cash flow, which is really good after maintenance and mortgage. Now we have an example of a bad landlord. This is what happens when you do things wrong. We have Happy Herbie right here. He's got a big smile on his face and a couple of little eyes there because he's paying himself to live in your property. You purchase this property for $300,000 as the value. That puts your mortgage at $1,550 approximately after principal, insurance, taxes, everything. It's all in $1,550. If you rent that property for a wonderful $1,400, you're in a great situation where you have a negative $150 in cash flow. So no wonder Happy Herbie has such a huge smile. He's saving $150 a month, and you're paying for all the maintenance. That's great for him. Not what we want to do. So you can see how if we paid attention to billing 1% for this property, and it may or may not even be possible to get 1% in whatever area this property happens to be in, but if we can, then we will cash flow no matter what on this property. But if we're just renting it for a 0.5 value, which is about what this is, you're losing money, and this will happen all over the place if you don't pay attention to the 1% rule. Now we'll talk about what isn't a 1% rent to value ratio. We have a purchase price on the house of $90,000, and we initially rent it for $900. That's great. We're a happy landlord. We have a smile and a 0 and a 6 for eyes. That's perfect. 3 years later, our house has appreciated to $120,000. Congratulations, you made $10,000 a year already off the property just from appreciation. But you're still renting it for $900 per month. That's a sad landlord because you should be renting it for $1,200 per month. Just because you purchase a property for $90,000 doesn't mean 3 years later or whenever it appreciates or whatever the value is after you're done remodeling or renovating the property, you should still be getting 1% rent to value every year off of this property. And again, we'll discuss later why this matters and how you can better utilize this cash in another property for better opportunity cost for your money. So if you're still renting this for $900, that's bad. What you should do is follow this arrow right here and bump the rent every year. Now, granted, maybe bumping the rent $300 over 3 years could be a little much, but ideally you're bumping it and bumping it and bumping it and bumping it until you get to this $1,200 or 1% of the $120,000 value of the house. So that'll do it for the in-depth explanation on the 1% and what isn't a 1% rent to value ratio. Now we'll pull up a quick slide on how to find these properties. So what we have here is a nice Zillow page, and we zoomed in on, let's see what this is, Mobile, Alabama. I can zoom out to show you that it's actually Alabama and not something else. These are current listings on August 25th, 2020. And we'll just look through some here real quick. We want to stay out of the city. So we're just going to ignore anything that's close to anything that says Mobile. So we want to be kind of outside this loop here. A lot of cities will have this loop. You want to try to buy outside of it. And then we can zoom in on some of the suburbs here. You can see we've looked at a couple properties. This one's $89,000. This one's $110,000. This one doesn't have a price because it's foreclosed, so we're going to ignore that because we can't get 30-year fixed rate on it in most cases anyway. And this one here is a pre-foreclosure for $136,000. Let's focus on the $89,000 property. If we can rent this property for $900 per month, then it would make sense. We have to see what the rent is around here and also take a quick look at these pictures that they've posted, if they've posted any, and go from there to see how much work is actually needed to fix up the house. So pulling that property up, you can see the outside of it has a fence, has a car. Probably doesn't come with the car, but you never know with these, do you? Just looking through the pictures, we have some older looking flooring. We have the same flooring here in this bathroom and a jacuzzi tub. That's not good, at least for me, because I don't feel like fixing a jacuzzi tub every time a tenant breaks it. Down here, bathroom, okay, that could be a half bath, could be the other part of this bathroom here. And outside we have what looks like a rough garage or bonus room or something that's rotting, not really sure. The main things I notice on this property are the pool. I really try to stay away myself from properties with pools. Maybe in Florida or some other area of the country where a pool is generally in the neighborhoods. But I really, just look at this, it's brown water. I do not want to be cleaning up brown water when the property sits empty for a month between tenants. That and the jacuzzi tub here are my two main concerns. Not too worried about the outside. A contractor can reboard this and fix that up fairly quickly and cheaply. More outside pictures. Driveway looks to be gravel or dirt, which is preferable to a busted or broken concrete driveway. And let's see, what else? Half brick, maybe some extra wooden siding here. Okay, so, filling in a tub, replacing a tub and filling in a pool. You could probably do that for a reasonable amount of money. But let's look at this other property here. Look at the $110,000 property. Okay, now remember this is Alabama, so it's warm. It's got 2 carports, which is good if it comes with those. Inside looks like some new flooring here. This is probably okay flooring. Hopefully it comes with the appliances. We'll get rid of these drapes. Don't worry about that. Try not to pay attention to the furniture that's in the houses too much. Pay attention to the fixtures and the quality of the flooring. That's going to be 2 of your most expensive things to fix to make it acceptable to a renter. I see a bathtub here, which is great. This is apparently a different bathroom. I can tell from the vanity in the wall. So they have 2 bathtubs in this house with at least 1 shower, which is perfect. Washer and dryer. Hopefully that comes with the property. Otherwise, you're shelling out $1,000 for a new one of those. Okay, great. Looks good. $110,000. Let's see what properties rent for in this neighborhood. So we're around this lake right here. Thornhill, Kimberline, Shelled, something below there. So we'll switch it to rentals here. We'll switch our dollar amount to $3,000. And remember, we were around this lake, and it looks like we have this house, 3-bed, 2-bath, $1,300 per month. This house, 3-bed, 2-bath, $1,100 per month. And then we have a 3-bed, 2-bath for $1.1K per month. And you notice my settings up here for 3-bed and 0 baths. Everything's going to come with a bath, so don't worry about that. But if you set it for 3 bedrooms, that's going to put you in the same category as we were looking for on a purchase. And we notice these right here, the 669. This looks like some sort of duplex, which is going to rent for less anyway if it's an apartment community or something like that. So don't worry about that pricing. We're looking at the houses. So this house here, let's see how it compares. It's nice, brick, decent flooring. We need to put that in anyway. Appliances. Again, good flooring. That doesn't look too good. Okay, so they need some bathroom work done there. And then some little dinette, some central air. We want to make sure our property has central air, or you'll be spending $3,000 to $5,000 to put the central air in there too. Hopefully this property comes with the dumpster. That would be nice if we're doing remodeling. That'll save us a few $100s right there. So as an example of how to find these, we were looking, and we'll switch it back to for sale. And this is our $110,000 house. And that rental for 1.1K was right in here. And the other one for 1.3K was right here. So we should be able to get $1,100 per month out of this house if we fix it up properly. And we should hopefully be able to get this for less than $110,000, hopefully $100,000, and then do our repair so that we have a total investment and value of $110,000, giving us a 1% RV ratio. So that's just a really quick and dirty way to find an area and see if it'll work out for you. It only took a few minutes there. Well, we'll do another video on how to look into these neighborhoods more in-depth, just like we did an in-depth video on this rent-to-value ratio, and show you some very easy and quick ways to find these neighborhoods and figure out if it's worth looking into even more.